Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to another edition of WOWSA Live. We're here with Kaia Hedlund and our host, Ned Denison. Go ahead, Ned.
Hello, everyone. I'm an epic marathon swimmer with more than 50 big swims. I'm also the chairman of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame, and I have a slight overlap with our next guest. I played water polo out of the Berkeley facility in the early 80s, and she was associated with the enemy, Newport and Irvine and USC. So we may or may not touch on that. Kaia, please give us your kind of aquatics background. Make your introduction at least 4 or 5 times longer than mine, please.
Well, I'm an old woman, so I've been around a long time. I learned to swim when I was 2. Started swimming competitively at 8 years old. Still swim, but only in the open water. Work out in the pool. I'm involved a little bit in organizing swimming competitions, and I love to swim. I love to myself get in the water, and swim long distance is nothing like you. I've swam just one channel, and but I love to swim. I just love to swim. I love to be in the water.
So you're involved in organizing one of the most famous open water swims in the world, the Waikiki Roughwater. Tell people what it is. Start with all of the best possible things, and then I'll bring you to the dark side in a minute.
Okay. Well, last summer we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Waikiki Roughwater Swim. The event is held in Waikiki Bay, generally on Labor Day every year. It's about 2.5 miles. It was the inspiration for man, the triathlon. We usually get between, say, 500 to 1,200 swimmers. So we do wave starts. We get some of the top open water swimmers in the world. Ashley Twitchell was our champion the last 2 years. So we have that level of swimmers. We also have, people who have just started out. It's a great swim. We have people from all over the world, and I've been involved. I've swam the race starting in about 1984, and I've been involved with it on the committee since 1990. And race director for the last 10 years, but I'm no longer the race director or president of the committee.
In the best years, out of the 500 to 1,200 swimmers, how many of those swimmers come in completely under control, with a big smile on their face, thanking the organizers? And on the best years, how many of those swimmers weren't up to it?
It depends. In a good year, everyone finishes. And in a bad year, mostly the currents is what causes a bad year. We can have a third of the swimmers may not finish.
And as a race organizer, educate people on the stress and the drama and the safety implications when one single swimmer has trouble swim like that. Just help people understand they're swimming along and somebody behind them is having a problem. What happens?
Well, if you're swimming along and you're ahead of me and I have a problem, you're not even going to know about it. But we probably have the most attention to safety of any event I have ever been in or had anything to do with. The race is safe itself. Sometimes are not up to being able to swim against a current. If the surf is too big, the race doesn't happen. But if the currents are bad, we will warn people, tell people, if you can't swim so fast, you probably shouldn't be in this. But You know, sometimes you're going to get people that you immediately are going to go and have your safety people go throw them back on the beach, and we tell them, and you're going to have a long walk back to the finish. So if you're not ready, don't swim.
But help, sorry to drill down on this, but what happens? Does somebody get in trouble? Do the three people near them go to them and help them? Do they yell for help? Do two kayakers react? Is there a safety boat involved? What happens physically?
What happens physically is you could have somebody that gets in trouble in any race. You'll have a person who has heart problems. That happens in a 10K run. Somebody has a breathing problem, an asthma problem that is not due to the swim, it's due to their physical condition. And they may panic, they may stop, or just stop swimming. We have, in our race, we have at least about 15 professional lifeguards throughout the course and close to 100 volunteers. So in general, we'll have somebody watching the entire time, and it's not another swimmer that's going to rescue somebody. That really never happens.
I hear swimmers sometimes saying things like, well, you don't feel very good. I'm not in particularly good shape. It's longer swim than I've ever done in my life, but I paid my money, I entered the swim, and I'll have a go. And one of the things I try to say to them, and I try to draw your experiences with Waikiki, is I say, it's not that simple. That's a really selfish attitude, because if you have trouble out there, you're going to take a kayaker out of the safety game. You're going to take a boat out of the safety game. 6 sets of eyes are going to be looking at you. You're going to upset the people near you. And then when you get back to dry land, you may take an ambulance out of the game. And by being not prepared, by being a little selfish, you've actually lowered the safety cover for everybody else in the event.
That's absolutely true, but you can't. A swimmer of our ability, who's done hundreds of races, would know I'm not ready for this. Right now, I'm not in shape. I wouldn't venture to swim any sort of race. But I have that knowledge. There are people who just don't have the knowledge, and no matter how much you talk to them, you tell them, you do your safety briefings, they're going to go do it anyway. And I don't know how you how you prevent that.
Do you qualify people? Do they have to give you a resume, or you explain to them what it is and say you should understand this before you push the enter button?
We have swim clinics. We hold 2 free clinics, one at the start, one at the finish, that are specific to our race. We have people who have won the race doing it. We also have some little kids that are helping out, some University of Hawaii collegiate swimmers that help out. And we'll just take them out for just a little swim. And we'll tell them right there, okay, you're not ready to swim this race. Go swim with the swim club for for a year, and then the coach will tell you when you're ready to swim this race. But there are people who don't go to the clinics, don't listen to anything we have to say, and I guess that happens everywhere.
Yeah, as race organizers, can we do something with those folks differently? I know in the past in Ireland, I ended up barring a guy, a great swimmer. He used to do 1 mile races all the time, and he failed to finish 2 races of 2 miles on back-to-back weekends, and he was going to enter a 3rd weekend. And I went, hang on a minute. You seem to have a problem after 1 mile, and we can't have you do it for the 3rd time in a row in a 3-week period. And I don't know the answer, but I sometimes see the same people being rescued at different races year after year after year, and I kind of wonder as organizers if we need to do something different.
Perhaps there are people. There is one person who had to be pulled out. We asked him not to do the race last year. We knew that would not be able to finish, and we knew the currents were going to be bad last year. We asked him not to swim. He chose to swim. And the problem with him is that he refused to pay attention to the lifeguards when they asked him to get out and get on the jet ski. So he will not swim the race again. Somebody like from year to year may be in better shape than they were.
Yeah.
The Waikiki Roughwater Swim Committee only runs 2 races. And so we don't, it's not like we're running a series of races. If there's somebody who does the North Shore swims and is a problem, and those races are all shorter than the Roughwater Swim, if we hear from Waikiki Swim Club that there is a problem swimmer, then we may ban them from the race. But so far that hasn't happened.
This instruction, which presumably you give at the start of your swims, which is when the safety crew say something to you, you're not supposed to discuss, argue, or negotiate. You're supposed to follow their directions.
Oh, absolutely.
I presume that's one of the big instructions.
Yes, I don't do the safety briefing myself. Our safety director does that, but then I add those things in. If you don't listen to this guy, you're not going to do this race again.
And what kind of effort is involved from the committee in getting this organized every year? Are there 5 of you, 10 of you? Are there hundreds of man hours that go into this? What's involved in putting this race together?
We have a board of directors, which is basically 8 people, and then we have we work with Rainbow Aquatics, which is a local swim club, and they bring about 100 people to the race. We also work that actually are the ones working the race on the beach at the beginning, at the end. And then we also work with the University of Hawaii. They bring both their men's and women's swim teams to support the race. That's probably another at least 40 people that help do the setup, help with the officiating, help at the finish line. So I would say we have between 100 and 200 people that are putting the race together.
And of the swimmers, how many of them are flying into Hawaii specifically for this event?
I have those figures off the top.
No, take a guess.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I'd say we have, if there's 1,000 swimmers, at least a quarter of them are from off Oahu, maybe half. We have people coming from Ireland. We have people coming from Norway. A lot of people coming from Japan, Australia, New Zealand, a lot from California, and the West Coast, but also all over the United States.
And do the local government officials put you in the kind of top 50 tourist attractions for the city, bringing in a relatively affluent, well-behaved gang?
We wish that they supported us more, but they're pretty supportive. It's not at the level of, say, the Honolulu Marathon, where they'll have 20,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, we have 1,000 people. Let's say we bring in 500 people that are from off of Oahu to swim the race. Those people all bring 5, family members, but people that are coming in for the race total, if you come with your wife and your 3 kids, that's, we may have 1,000 people that are coming for the race.
And for people who aren't familiar with the swim, give us a description of what the course looks like, what the challenge is, what the vista's like.
Well, it starts at one end of Waikiki Bay and ends at the other end. So you swim out, straight out a channel. Both the start and the finish are boat channels. You swim through the reef. You're swimming on the race. You're swimming outside the reef and outside the surf. You swim out about 1,000 meters. You turn right, you swim down the length of Waikiki Bay, and you come in at what we call the Hilton Hawaiian Village channel. Again, in a channel where there's surf, generally surf on both sides, reef on both sides, and you finish on one of the most beautiful beaches in the world.
And
So beach start, beach finish.
And do the swimmers have ankle tags?
Yes, yes, we do. Electronic timing, chip timing. That's how we keep track of everyone.
And are there festivities before and after?
I wouldn't say there's festivities before. We don't have any big banquet. We don't have any anything like that. At the finish, we do have an awards ceremony, but no food or anything like that. Occasionally, we'll have ice cream for you or some kind of bar. We always have Powerade, Gatorade. But at the finish, there are plenty of restaurants, plenty of bars around. So if you want to go have a cold beverage before the award ceremony, you can do that. You want to go have a sandwich, you want to go take a nap, take a shower, you can do that.
And you talked about the currents before. Is there a strong tide, or is it one of these situations that if there was a disturbance in the sea 3 days ago on the north side of the island, you're going to get a current you might not expect?
Right. Well, in general, the currents have to do with the tides. So we can look today and figure out what we think the current is going to be like for the swimmers that day. It's not always accurate, but it's in general, we will know. We always know that the current is going out the boat channels. So at both the start, in the beginning, you're going to be swimming out and you're going to get a little push, and coming back in, you're going to be swimming against the current no matter what it's like. The good swimmers know how to swim and use the waves if there's a little waves, body surf coming back in. But on the main part of the course, it's mostly the tides. It can be a little bit the wind, and yes, it can be some other disturbance somewhere out in the Pacific, the biggest body of water in the world.
And are there people who come back every year for decades to do this swim? Do you have your regulars, your famous regulars?
Yes, we have a lot of people that come every year. A lot of people that will bring different friends every time. Yeah, it's kind of a family reunion every year. It's fun.
And is somebody brought a particularly big group in the last 5 or 10 years? Do you get 20 people from the San Diego Swim Club or something that come out and do it?
We always have a good with the Olympic Club in San Francisco. We get a lot of swimmers from San Diego. A lot of swimmers from Australia that are our groups.
And for the committee and for yourself, what's in it for you? I'm presuming you don't each make $25,000 a year and get a courtesy car.
A lot of work, a lot of stress, zero pay. The Waikiki Roughwater Swim is run by, it's a 501c3 nonprofit corporation in Honolulu that only puts on this race and then the long swim in October. So nobody involved with running the race makes a penny, except for we do hire professional lifeguards, Aloha Surf Life Saving, and we do hire the people who do the timing and the registration, and they get paid. We pay, we have to rent chairs and tables, and we pay those people. Yeah. But nobody involved gets paid at all. So I've put my 10 years in as a volunteer. When I was elected president and race director, I said, okay, I don't really want to do this. I do a lot of this type of stuff professionally, but I don't really want to do it, but I will for 3 years. And it was 10. And so now I've handed off the responsibility, and I hope to swim the race again.
And how does it compare to events in California, for example?
The water's a lot warmer. You can see the bottom generally. That's the best part. Other than that, a lot of the races are similar. You know, beach start, beach finish. A lot of the people are the same. Yeah, swimmers are swimmers. So it's, but I love this race more than any race I've ever done.
Why?
And a lot of people do.
Why?
Well,
Tell us.
the thing,
Old friends. Is it a familiar course? Do you have a better feel for the water? What's the draw for you?
You are a cold water swimmer. I'm a warm water swimmer, and the water, to me, just getting in the water, Waikiki, without even swimming is an experience. You oftentimes, and swimmers do this all the time. Some of the swimmers in the race will bring a camera, and they'll be swimming along and they'll see a dolphin and they'll stop and they'll point, hey, look, oh, look, there's a ray, there's a honu, there's whatever, a school of fish. And I mean, people tell me that all the time. They say, oh, guy, here, look, want to see this photo I took at the turn buoy? I'm like, what were you doing taking photos at the turn buoy? You're supposed to be racing.
I have to confess, I race. I don't look around. And you made me smile because we have people who come to Ireland, and they'll come in after a swim and they'll say, my God, I saw a crab or a rock or some floating seaweed. And they're used to swimming in Dover Harbor, where the visibility is about your elbow. Yeah. And if there was something in the water, you probably wouldn't want to see it anyways.
Yeah, well, there are swimmers that are perhaps from California, where you can rarely see the bottom, and they'll freak out. They're like, "Oh, guys, I saw fish." Yeah, wasn't that cool? So it's.
And while I am a cold water swimmer, it's because the water's cold where I am. I was in Baja a couple of months ago in 23 degrees Celsius water, and I thought, why would you swim in anything but? It was just beautiful, beautiful, comfortable temperature. No, I think you have to swim what you have. And for people who travel around the world and swim, we're swimming in 41 degree Fahrenheit water to 90 degree Fahrenheit water, and each one of those temperatures has a different challenge. And it's sometimes impossible to prepare for them all.
Yeah, I can't. The water here in Long Beach right now is between 58, 62 degrees Fahrenheit, and I can do it, but I really don't like it. To me, that's not a pleasant experience.
So this summer, is the race canceled or not yet determined?
It's not yet determined. We have the Waikiki Swim Club has a series on the North Shore in the summer. We're kind of working with them as well to figure out what's going on. We should be by now we should be taking registrations. We've chosen to hold off taking any registrations until May 31st. By that time, we think we'll have a better idea of whether the race. I'm very optimistic that the race will happen this year, but I don't want to. Our board has decided not to take registrations, and we may delay that a little bit longer. But I think it's going to happen this year.
I'm optimistic as well. I think it will happen. I think what possibly will change is there'll be some locations around the world. So, for example, flights from Japan might be more troublesome than usual. There might be some restrictions, but I'm sure that the locals will be available to swim. I'm sure there'll be sufficient relaxation on social distancing by then.
Yes, and in Hawaii, the ocean has been open the entire time. In places they have closed the beaches, but the whole entire time they have allowed swimmers, surfers to cross the beach to get in the water. So all of my friends have been swimming in the ocean, even though they can't swim in the pool, but they have been swimming in the ocean. So all the swimmers in Hawaii will be in shape, and I'm sure they will be enthusiastic to do the races.
So they're going to have a couple of months training on you by the time you get out there to race this summer.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're going to have to pick it up in May and June then if you're going to be competitive.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Kaia, listen, we thank you very much for your time today, and all of the best with the relaxation where you are. I understand the beaches in San Diego and north of LA are open now, so you're probably.
I live in Long Beach, and the beaches in Long Beach are closed, but the ocean is open.
Okay.
So swimmers are swimming in Long Beach,
Okay.
and Newport Beach and Huntington Beach. But
Steve told me Steve told me he couldn't go swimming in the ocean. Steve, where are you?
I'm
Come
here.
back now.
Yes. No. I took it running.
Come down to my house and swim.
I took up running.
Oh, that's it.
Oh
That's
no, no, don't do that.
it. Thank you very much, Kaia.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.